All right, everyone to your places.
We're ready in here, sir.
How are we in the studio?
Stand by, sir. Hit the lights.
Yes, sir. Striking.
Quiet on the set, please. We're on in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Greetings, everyone. Don't be afraid. It's just us, your friendly co-anchors here at the Arlington Weekly News. Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig Nolan.
Buenas noches, Mr. Nolan.
Buenas noches,
I'm Daniel
Señor
Pineda. Hey, Craig.
And hey, how you doing? On assignment last week? Were you
Yeah.
on assignment last week?
No, you were on assignment last week.
I was on assignment the week before. Assignments are flying around here these days. Well, let's see here. We have our news and community bulletin board segments. Adele Quo is here. Well, almost here with
It's Easy Being Green.
Via a roll-in, a pre-recorded segment. Our CBB file, as I mentioned. Some music roll-in from our best friend here, our Studio B champion so far, Jorge Serafin, and his guitar.
Jorge.
Our News for Seniors segment, and then our very own Styrofoam mom, Miriam Gennari, and another installment of her Sustainable Scoop. That's our show, but before we begin, here's a social media reminder from my broadcast partner over here.
Absolutely, Mr. Nolan. You can watch the Arlington Weekly News on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Arlington Weekly News. And you guessed it, the number 1. Also, facebook.com/Arlington Weekly News. And also the radio, right, Craig?
Also the radio, WERA 96.7 LP FM. All right, here we go with the first of our news items. Well, Arlington Weekly News is saddened to report the recently announced closing of Club Iota and Cafe coming up at the end of September. The club has been a source of food and entertainment, mostly entertainment, since 1994, and provided a starting place for a number of local entertainers. The Arlington Weekly News has featured a few of them, including Jorge Serafin and Mr. Ray's son, Antonio. We'll have a special feature next week, we think, about the club, and it's coming up on next week's show with more information about their upcoming grand closing event. So stick around for that. Daniel.
It will surely be missed, Craig.
It will be, definitely.
Well, Craig, there's an old saying that everyone talks about the weather, but nobody does anything about it. Well, that may still apply to the weather, but maybe you can do something about Metro's bus service. Metro has announced that they are seeking feedback on some proposed changes, including a new premium transit network for Columbia Pike in lieu of the canceled streetcar. There are a couple of ways to make your preferences known. You can complete an online survey that's at buschanges2017.questionpro.com/. You can also fill out a paper survey and place it in one of the collection boxes located near the affected routes. Craig.
And also more on Metro now. If you'd like to give your feedback to Metro in person, there are also 2 ways that you can do so. You can contact Metro's outreach staff through September 21st at designated times and locations on buses or at Metro rail stations. You can also attend an open house coming up on Tuesday, September 26th, beginning at 5:30 in the p.m. Location is Metro Headquarters Building at 600 5th Street Northwest in Washington, D.C. The deadline for providing feedback is 9 a.m. on Monday, October 2nd. Daniel.
Well, Craig, by now you're probably wondering how to find out about the proposed changes so you can decide on what kind of feedback you want to give. There are too many details to provide here, but you can learn about them by going to the website. And this is a long one. WMATA.com/surface/bus-changes-2017.cfm. At the very least, the information may help you in planning future trips via Metro.
All right, thanks, Daniel. And our CBB file coming right up, right after we hear from another installment from our very own Adele Quo.
And it's easy being green.
Here's Adele.
It's easy being green. The Easy Being Green segment of Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News has a history extending back to 2010. The original segment creator and host was the charming Lily Whitesell. Happily, many of her pioneering appearances have been preserved and can still be seen on YouTube. In 2011, Lily turned her segment over to the equally charming Adele Quo, who continued the high quality of Easy Being Green until the arrival of Joe Treefrog. That's why this replacement segment is actually called The Joe Treefrog Story. The remainder of the narration has been dubbed in English, translated from the original Frogese. The origins of Joe Treefrog have long been shrouded in mystery, confusion, and, let's face it, widespread indifference. It is commonly assumed that, like so many other frogs, Joe began life as a hatchling and followed the customary career path through swimming tadpole, gradually progressing as he shed his gills, added legs, and, perhaps, paused to ponder his slowly diminishing tail. However, some recently obtained interview footage suggests that this may not have been the case.
Oh, sure, Joe's my boy. I've raised him from a sprout, taught him everything he knows. Now I'm also his agent and manager, so I get half of his royalties, personal appearance fees, and... What? Nothing? You're kidding, right? Well, in that case, I never saw the kid before in my life.
We also obtained the following interview with Terence Treefrog at his residence in the community of Hanging on the Branch. Oh my, yes. I've been aware of the existence of this so-called Mr. Joe Treefrog for quite some time. He's been claiming a connection to my family for a while now, a connection which I am only too happy to disavow. The most charitable thing I could say is that one of my less discerning relations might have, at some time, gotten mixed up with some, well, let's just call them bad eggs. But even that would be a dubious assertion. I mean, just look at this Mr. Joe Treefrog, and then look at me. There's simply no family resemblance at all. Whatever Joe's antecedents, there's no denying that his television career has taken him through a wide variety of different styles, costumes, and looks. Yes, Joe Treefrog has certainly had many moments. But now, finally, the truth can be told. Joe Treefrog did not begin life as a hatchling. He has never even been an egg. He never experienced any kind of tadpole phase, and he never swam or carried a tail. Joe Treefrog was just a toy frog which was purchased at a very low price from Ayers Variety and Hardware Store in Westover. He wasn't a licensed character. He didn't even have a name. And that's why he's just plain Joe Treefrog. This concludes the Joe Treefrog story. Adele Quo will return next week with another and much better installment of It's Easy Being Green.
Wow.
Well, surprise, surprise.
Wow.
Surprise, surprise. That wasn't Adele at all, but we had a very informative story about the origins of Joe Treefrog.
We know the whole
Holy
history,
canal.
Craig.
He didn't start from an egg. He came from Ayers Variety Store.
In Westover.
In Westover. That's really good to know. All right, thanks, Adele, and our Mr. Hef Munson for that wonderful production there. Here we go now, as promised, our CBB, our Community Bulletin Board file. Mark your calendars. Thursday, September 21st, is your big chance to finally write that great American novel. Better yet, oh, there you go. Okay, there we go. Slow it down a little bit. You can write that international bestseller that gets the biggest movie rights deal ever. But you've got to stop just thinking about it and talking about it. You've got to do it. So this workshop is called Shut Up and Write. The featured topic will be young adult authors writing romance and relationships. Let's face it, most romantic movies these days show young adults, right? Well, anyway, the program will take place at Arlington Central Library from 7 to 8 p.m. in the auditorium, and they're located at 1015 North Quincy Street, right here in Arlington. Come on down and learn from authors who have successfully made the transition from fun idea to finished book. They'll even have copies available for signing. So check that out at our Central Library. Daniel.
Well, Craig, if you're feeling visually artistic, you can come to the large meeting room. That's at Westover Branch Library on Tuesday, September the 19th, for an evening of cosplay with a costume model. Cat Noir will appear as Deadpool, so bring your favorite sketchbook, materials, and a friend. The program is designed for adults, but mature high schoolers are also welcome. Attendance will be on a first-come, first-served basis, so be sure to jot down the time and place. That's Tuesday, September the 19th at 6:30 p.m. at Westover Branch Library, 1644 North McKinley Road, Suite 3 in Arlington, Virginia. Craig.
Thank you, Daniel. And also in CBB, Curiouser and Curiouser on Wednesday, September 20th. You can walk, drive, or teleport over to the Java Shack in Clarendon for an evening of science fiction. It's the Strange Lands Science Fiction Book Club, Souls in the Great Machine, where you can discuss Hugo and Nebula-winning novels with the like-minded individuals. Time is at 7 o'clock, goes till about 8:30, and their address, 2507 North Franklin Road in Arlington. For those of you who have mastered the art of time travel, this group meets on the third Wednesday of every month, so you can attend in October's meeting as well, and no one will be the wiser. Daniel.
Now we go to our next segment, right, Craig?
That's it, and we have, that's it for Short CBB tonight. We have our favorite, and for a while only, participant in our Studio B series, Jorge Serafin and his guitar. Let's take a look. Thank you very much. Mr. Jorge
Jorge!
Serafin. Guy's amazing. He can play guitar like that day after day after day, hour after hour. It's
And he's
incredible.
so passionate. You
He
can see
is,
in
and
his
he's
face
just-
how passionate he is.
And he makes it look so easy, but it's not. So we appreciate Jorge and the talent that he has.
Thank you,
and,
Jorge.
Thank you, Jorge, for sharing it with us here on AWN. All right, here we go. As promised now, our News for Seniors segment. On Wednesday, September 20, there'll be a special presentation called Streaming Music Services, Which One is Best for You? It's intended for adults, especially those 55 and older. You'll learn about the various available services and what each one has to offer. It will help you decide based on some common questions like how much am I willing to pay? Can I put up with the advertising? What can I get for free? How can I make a playlist of favorite songs, as well as other questions that you may have about your particular music choices. So check that one out. Daniel.
And Craig, the time is Wednesday, September the 20th from 7 to 8 p.m. The location is the Cyber Center in Columbia Pike Branch Library. That's located at 816 South Walter Reed Drive in Arlington, Virginia. For more information, give them a call at 703-228-5710. Craig.
Also in our News for Seniors, just a reminder, don't forget about NVSO, the Northern Virginia Senior Olympics, already in progress. You can get a schedule of the remaining events at http://NVSO, should be on your screen there, /US 2017 _event _schedule.pdf. And you can find out a lot more about NVSO, Northern Virginia Senior Olympics, at that website. All right, we'll be back with a little sign-off and bye-bye right after we hear from our very own Styrofoam mom, Miriam Gennari, and another installment of her Sustainable Scoop.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Sustainable Scoop. Well, it's that time again. Right now, we need to celebrate another year of getting better. That's right, getting better and not getting older. And here joining me to celebrate that is Stuart Rosenthal. He's the editor and founder of the Beacon magazine, or the Beacon newspaper.
Hi, Miriam.
Welcome back again.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
All right, so it's another year.
That's right.
And we're getting ready to have the Senior Expo.
Our annual 50 Plus Expo. That's right. Every fall we do that.
And when is it going to be?
It's going to be Sunday, September 17th.
Okay.
From noon to 4 at Springfield Town Center, like where we had it last.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was a great venue.
It sure was. It worked out very beautifully.
Okay, and at the expo, like always, you're going to have a lot of the people that are not just vendors. They're people that work primarily and cater towards 50 plus.
That's right. There are a lot of government agencies and nonprofits who specifically work with older adults and their families and their needs. And they'll all be there with information and answering questions from people. And we have a lot of businesses as well of all sorts. There are people who want to stay in their homes and they want to do remodeling and they want to have home health care brought in. Those kinds of folks are there. And then there are other people who want to move. So there'll be real estate agents and there'll be retirement communities. And of course, there are all the kinds of doctors and health practitioners out there and elder law attorneys and financial planners, you name it. There's all kinds of folks there.
Last year when I was there, I met this wonderful man that helps older people with technology.
Yes.
And you know, maybe that's because they've graduated from having those teenagers in their basement and garage. But so I have that opportunity to get some tech support. But people who are living alone.
Grandchildren are good.
Grandchildren are good, but if you can't get your grandchildren to
Right.
come by,
you can hire people to come out
You can
and help
hire
you.
someone.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, and it's really important because people use computers to stay in touch.
Right. Well, our technology section in the Beacon has been catching on very nicely too.
Speaking of that, I checked out your web page.
Yes.
Lots going on there.
You know, we're having a completely new website designed right now. We had a
Really?
meeting this morning. Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, but it'll be towards the end of the year before we're up and running with it. But
All right. Well, now that we're on the track of excitement, you
Yes.
also have some exciting news because the Beacon is expanding. Tell me about that.
that's right. There's been a publication in Richmond, Virginia for about 20 years called 50 Plus. And I met the owner through the way we meet other owners of senior publications around the country. And unfortunately, this last year or two, he had come down with cancer and he was fighting it valiantly, but he was losing the battle. And so he contacted us just shortly before he died, and he said, "I don't want my paper to disappear after 20 years." And so we moved in with his support, and we, took over the operations, and now we're keeping it alive. And it's been a big challenge for us, but very exciting one. It's been invigorating.
Probably an exciting one for your advertisers too, because you reach into Maryland.
That's right.
Washington, D.C.
Right.
And then
now down to Richmond.
Now
That's
all
right.
the way down
the
to
Mid-Atlantic
Richmond.
area, right.
That's
yes.
wonderful.
So
Will there be an expo there?
Actually, someone brought that up recently. We'll
Yeah,
see.
let's do it.
We'll see.
All right. Well, you have a very special guest. Every year you have a great guest for the Senior Expo, but tell us about your guest this year.
Our keynote speaker is Matt Quinn. The name may sound familiar. It's from Quinn's Antiques and Auction House. And he has been a 7-year veteran on the PBS Antiques Roadshow appraisal show, which everybody knows about. So we decided if he was going to be our speaker, he's talking about what do you have in your basement or your attic that might have some value, tell people sort of understand what might be in their own homes. But he is also going to bring his entire staff of appraisers with him. So people who come to our expo can bring up to 2 items each, hand-carryable items, and get a verbal appraisal on the premises.
Wow.
Right at the expo.
So you can, does it have to be yours? Can you bring it for your parents?
Oh, sure, yeah. But as long as it's hand-carryable, we're talking like a book or a print or crystal or knick-knack or, you know, autograph, those kinds of things, smaller things.
Oh, that sounds like such
And we're asking
fun.
people to give a contribution to Texas flood relief as part of the process.
That's a wonderful idea. So take a little bit of your family history, get some information, and at the same time benefit all those people that could use our help right now.
Right, and something else new we have this year, AARP Virginia is bringing a huge shredder truck.
Yay!
So you can bring all of your sensitive information that you need to have shredded and recycled, and they can do that also while you're at the expo.
Well, you know, that's one of the things that I remember hearing most when I was at the expo last year, that when people go to the Beacon newspaper, they always seem to find information that they can trust, and even the people that are advertising in the Beacon, there's some kind of integrity that goes along.
We try to maintain that as best we can, absolutely. If there's a problem that a person has with an advertiser, we will try to mediate and see that things are smoothed out. We haven't had a problem in many years, actually.
No, people really, really love it. But this particular guest, I mean, you know, if you're not buying a lottery ticket, you're looking at something that's sitting on your shelf and thinking, wow, this has got to be worth lots and lots of money.
It may be worth a lot. In fact, he says...
I have a Civil War sword.
Bring it.
Yeah.
Bring it. Be careful.
Okay.
He makes a point in the story that we wrote about him that things people think are valuable often are not, because they used to be valuable and nowadays they're not so popular. And things that people think they should throw away can be very valuable. So you just don't know. You should bring what you have.
Well, just so that we can remind people about all the wonderful reasons to read the Beacon, tell me about some of the topics that you cover.
Oh, we have every month we have our health and fitness section, which deals with all aspects of that subject. Money and law is our second most popular section. It deals with legal issues as well as, you know, Medicare, Social Security, and keeping your nest egg going for the future. Then there's travel, there's arts. We have a housing section every quarter with all kinds of information about every aspect of senior housing. And there's a technology section, as I mentioned earlier.
Okay, so your newspaper, and then you have your expo, which is basically bringing your newspaper to life.
That's
with
right.
all that information.
And I should point out also at the expo we have flu shots being given by CVS.
Okay.
So if you haven't gotten your flu shot yet this fall, you should. And even if you're over 65, they have the high-dose flu shots for those people as well. And if you have Medicare, they're free.
It's critical to stay active and stay connected, and I think
Stay
that's
healthy,
one of the
right.
things that's really important about attending the expo, but also reading the newspaper. It's really geared to the specific needs and thoughts that people are having as they age.
That's right. And as you say, it's both the articles and the ads. People tell us that they're both very valuable to them, and that makes us feel really good.
All right, well, how do people get in touch with you, either to talk about things that they'd like to read in your newspaper or to find out more information?
You can call us at 301-949-9766, or you can email info@thebeaconnewspapers, with an S at the end, .com.
Okay, and it's thebeaconnewspapers.com if they want to go and read the paper online?
That's right.
And where do they get the paper?
The paper is available at 1,500 places throughout the metropolitan area.
Everywhere,
Every
right?
public library, doctor's offices, churches, and synagogues. If a person can't find a place near them, CVS and Rite Aid, if you can't find a copy, then call our office and we'll tell you where you can get one nearby.
They can't have mine, though.
No, that's yours.
Thanks so much, Stuart,
Thank you,
for
Miriam.
visiting us again.
Always
I'll
a
see you
pleasure.
at the expo.
Yes.
All right, and I hope to see all of you there also. That's the Sustainable Scoop. I'm Miriam Gennari. Back to the news desk.
All right, thanks, Miriam. We appreciate it in her conversation with Stuart Rosenthal of the Senior Beacon. Boy, that publication's been around for a long time.
For years, yeah.
A lot of good information in there for not just for seniors, but for everyone, you know, here in Arlington. Well, we're missing our
I know. Adele.
Miss Adele tonight on assignment. Hopefully she'll be back. We wish you safe travels on your assignment wherever you are, Adele. And we look forward to having you back here next week for another installment of your Easy
Being Green. And she brings so much passion to the show and energy, and we miss it. Definitely miss it. Right, Craig?
That's it. So anything else to add before we go, Senor Pineda?
That should do it. We'll see Adele here next week, and should be another good show.
Yeah. So thank you all for watching. We appreciate you spending 30 minutes out of your busy day with us here at the Arlington Weekly News. And next week, if you're there, we'll be here and we'll try it all again. Have a safe week. Bye-bye.